add that I went through the whole study, thanks to Steve passing it on to me, and my respect for Maxfield and their work is just as high as it always was. It's really a good study. The information for an EDA is a sort of between the lines. I mean, there is a chapter on development of jobs, but it's fairly pro forma. But it's important, and really for the EDA, other than what it has to recommend about the 10-year need for housing. There's quite a bit that goes unsaid, but is said between the lines about a need to develop, continue to develop, add jobs, grow the economy, because their housing numbers, and I'll stop there, are based mainly on demographic projections. Although they you know, I think they spin the school into growth as well, but they're not using growth in terms of retail, manufacturing. They're not using economic growth as a driver for their numbers. They're using population.
But even if they're off by half, it's a significant.
Yeah, no, it's a good study.
The full study is about 120 pages, so if you'd like it, we've got it electronically. We can print copies off. I'd love to see that as well. But otherwise, we're just going to probably show what you're seeing in front of you, although I may have tweaked it a little bit since then. So the executive survey or summary and recommendations, I think, are the nuts and bolts of it.
The full EDA is, this is a full EDA meeting? And
Yes.
We'll get a reminder prior to the meeting?
You will?
I can hear you. Yeah, okay. That's June 16th at?
6:30.
6:30. Any other questions or thoughts there? 4C, May 2015 news release, EDA newsletter. I'll just point out again, once we get a lull in the flurry of activity on the back page, page 5 of that EDA thing, it says, tell us about news in your area. And it's something to keep in mind to number one, establish contact with this group, and number two, try to put something into words about what we've done with Highway 43 project, with all of our revolving loan funds, and the microloans and grants. Anything else on that? General business, 5A, report from staff. Sam?
Okay. So, as the agenda and then the detailed reports here highlight, our general fund balance is $167,259.36, and then the 203, the EDA RLF balance, that's $569,713.08, and that is accumulating. Flood loan balance $153,287.02, and then I included that. We included the how much that those accounts are growing by. So that's 203 fund. That's accumulating $29,439.16 per month. So.
Any questions for Sam? 5B.
All right. Balance of the microgrant fund. So the last draw on that one then was the Rushford festivities that we approved last meeting. So we also made the motion to allocate funds to that purpose, that microgrant fund. So that is reflected there, with the balance being $4,682.79. The micro loan fund is still healthy at $15,000, and then the balance that we've committed to spend on the Highway 43 grant is still $500 for St. Joseph.
Is St. Joseph's going to grab that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We should probably follow up. but if they haven't, they're not gonna get it because the project's pretty much over.
The wall, yeah, their wall is pretty much intact too. Any questions for Sam on that? 5C, business loans and status.
Got the spreadsheets. Yeah, there's action that's needed with respect to reports this evening. RNECC remains in default. HPC is in forbearance. There's a meeting next week,
Next Thursday.
in Lanesboro. Justice Street job is forbearance started. Rushford Hypersonic. They apparently have gotten all approvals, and it got to the executive vice president, and he came up with some issue. Hopefully it's just a technicality, the paperwork, so they're still working through on that. The electric fund has the interfund loan, and Litchers, I talked to the attorney about seeing if there's anything left that we can do on that, because I think they exempted us from the bankruptcy.
They did. You can collect.
Okay.
I talked to him today and we'll begin that process.
Great.
On Lichter?
And then on flood loans, Hypersonic, same as above, and Butch Johnson, who has a forbearance request in, when we met with him in the subcommittee, and should be, hopefully we'll be here this evening, but maybe not.
What is this in red, Sam? Further information, is that a carryover from last month? Because we met and we made a recommendation based on the information. It's on the back page.
Yeah, that is a kind of a carryover from last.
So we get rid of that.
Yeah, this report was dated the 8th, so it doesn't necessarily reflect the latest conversations we've had.
Okay, any question on the worksheet there? We can go right to loan forbearance requests and we'll work our way through this list here. Actually, Village Auto is not a forbearance request.
Sorry, yeah, that.
Just a clarification.
Yep.
Okay, G-Force request. Jeff is here. You want to come on up, Jeff, in case we want to ask him a question?
We've been working with G-Force for several months now. The original plan was to come out of forbearance due to some exciting things that are going on at G-Force and ramp-up opportunities. They would like to focus their attention on getting the business going, especially because they're coming into a critical part of the year with the outdoor hunting season. And up to almost 14 employees now. I think it's 12 and a half employees are working there in various jobs and positions. And so there was a plan. We were working on sort of a grand plan to that would provide for paying off loans and consolidation of loans and providing lines of credit. Some of those larger plans didn't quite work out because they weren't as advantageous. The company's gone back and has sold a few more shares, and rather than continuing to do that, has worked out a plan to get money from investors to provide guarantees for lines of credit.